We have to make some assumptions, and some of you may disagree, but here we go. We know pretty much that the average guy got, if you're in for day one, you got 10,000 points per dollar, which equates to Pulse on launch to get your money back. In order to break even, it's got to be valued at 0.001. We've got to see that, or we've all lost money, right? We also know that the Pulse supply is going to be about 1.2 million times the Ethereum supply. And here's something very interesting if you haven't thought about this. The HEX Pulse pair will exist on the PulseX DEX from day one, from inception. Now think about this. We've got the Pulse chain price. Break even is 0.001. We know that the Pulse supply is going to be 1.2 million X of ETH. If you look on Uniswap v2, and remembering that PulseX is a direct copy of Uniswap v2. So right now today is live figures. The liquidity pair, the HEX ETH pair, which is going to be immediately translated on launch to the HEX Pulse pair. In the pool, we have 10 million HEX and 819 ETH. That's the liquidity pair that's sitting on Uniswap v2 right now today. Now, what does this mean for us to make money? In this example, when ETH is equivalent to Pulse at launch, 1 ETH equals 1 Pulse. That's just the way it goes. So our liquidity pool on day one, if it was today, we're going to have an immediate liquidity pool on PulseX of 819 Pulse to 10 million HEX. Those of you who sacrifice for Pulse have probably got millions of Pulse. So therefore you can see that the idea of buying HEX right at the very beginning is a fantastic opportunity, right? It's like pennies, less than pennies, but it ain't gonna happen. And here's why. Because right before the DEX is launched, the powers that be, whoever they be, will launch the AMM bot. Now, what is the AMM bot going to do? Well, all the DEXs in existence on Ethereum today, like Uniswap, SushiSwap, 1x, whatever it is, they are going to get this bot buying up the supply on their DEXs. And the Pulse supply is approximately 1.2 million times Ethereum. So to make those ratios work, it means that we have to multiply the Pulse supply by 1095x, and we need to decrease the number of HEX by the same 1095x, which leaves us with a ratio of 896,805 Pulse equals 9,276 HEX. That works out to be 97 Pulse, or HEX at 0096, right at the very beginning, right? What an opportunity. And I can see all of you out there rubbing your hands. This is it. This is how I'm going to make my money. Well, good luck on that. It's not going to happen. You know why? How many people do you think in front of you are going to see the same opportunity and they're going to buy up the HEX before you can even say the word HEX? You won't have a chance to buy HEX at that price. The whales are not stupid. Some of them will be running bots to make sure that this happens. They will outrun you. There's no question. It doesn't matter what you want to believe, and I'm afraid it's true. So you ain't getting HEX at 0096. It will be quickly eaten up to 0.1, 10 cents within a very, very short time. And here is the assumption that I'm going to make that people are going to be argumentative about. I see very quickly that HEX will be at parity on both chains, on the ETH chain and on the HEX chain, because people will arbitrage. Nobody is going to buy expensive HEX, and therefore everybody will buy the cheap HEX until it's the same price as the other HEX. How many times do you have to pay an ETH fee with HEX? If you're smart, you stake your HEX. It's not that expensive when you consider the value proposition of HEX on the ETH chain. And then, of course, the cost will be down the road in years to come time. Don't do anything less than 2 because you're likely to lose money. Doesn't matter what anybody says. HEX could go up, but it could also go down. 2 years stake is guaranteed to make you money. So if you think about it, what are the fees going to be on Ethereum network in 2 years time? God knows. Nobody knows. But it's more than likely that the fees are going to be less. Despite what Vitalik and his non-existent team do or do not do, the traffic will be removed from the Ethereum network the way things are going. We are heading towards a cross-chain world, there is no doubt, and therefore the congestion and the fees that are being charged on Ethereum will de facto decrease. Now, whether they'll ever be as low as PulseChain, probably not. Even if the gas fee is higher, the amount of money that you've made when you unstake, so long as you've done sensible stakes, if you think you can put $50 in to HEX and become rich, you're very wrong. Unless you're going to wait a very long time, then you can. The best strategy today is if you invest $1,000 right now, go and buy $1,000 worth of HEX, gets you about 5,388 at the current price today. You will get a copy on the Pulse chain. I've predicted that the price of HEX is $100. Now that's way low to what it really is probably going to be. But let's just stick with $100, which is, palpable. Your $1,000 stake today is going to garner you 6.5 million US dollars. That is a 647,640% increase. That is mind-boggling. It puts the price appreciation of Pulse and PulseX into clear perspective. There is no comparison. If you don't understand that now, you are going to sorely miss out. Your highest return on your dollar is to buy HEX now, right now. Get your copy on the Pulse chain, stake it, and chill. You may not understand HEX even now, even though you're invested in it. HEX is a crypto asset. It's the only crypto asset that exists on the market. Through the adoption of Pulse chain and PulseX, a lot more people are going to understand. Transforming your hard-earned dollar into an asset is the most difficult thing and the most important thing that you have to learn. Nobody has taught you that. You have to make your money earn more than you do. And the only way that you can do that, and that is HEX, that is Pulse, and that is PulseX. And the interesting thing is that it's being gatekept. Richard Hart is a scammer. HEX is a Ponzi scheme. It's centralized. All of those point to the lack of brain cells in the people that actually say those things. Because if they actually understood how money works and how investment works, they might see, as we do, the greatest wealth transfer opportunity of our lifetime. The only way that you can get wealthy is, number one, you can't afford to diversify. I cannot stress that enough. I'm going to call it Conrad Zen's law. If you are not wealthy, you can't afford to diversify. You have to choose a horse and you have to back it to the hilt. And if it falls, too bad, because there ain't any other way of doing it. And let's face it, if you've done your research properly, then why wouldn't you be backing the right horse? The runners are right in front of you. HEX, Pulse, and PulseX. Those are the three runners. And you need to concentrate your wealth in those three things.